With the general elections fast approaching, there's a great need to create awareness and sensitize the broadcasters to produce and disseminate content that will not threaten the peace of the nation. The National Broadcasting Commission held a multi-stakeholder dialogue themed towards a fair and responsible broadcast coverage of the 2023 general elections. The event started with the national anthem. The opening remarks was said by Director General of the NBC, Balarabe Shehu Ilela.
This forum, as it is a tradition in NBC as your regulator and is the regulator's way of reminding broadcasters of the critical role they play in the democratic process that we are soon going to face in this country. In a couple of days, political campaigns will begin in earnest, and the Nigerian Broadcasting Code has specific guidelines on political broadcast. Today, we are here to underscore the huge responsibility bestowed on the broadcasters to guide the process. We also use this forum to speak to the conscience of the other critical stakeholders. The theme of this year's forum is towards a fair and responsible broadcast coverage of 2023 general elections, a multi-stakeholders dialogue. This is so coined to give the broadcasters an opportunity to interface with the politicians and other stakeholders so that we all know what is safe for broadcasters and what cannot go on air. As we commence campaign this month, the instruments that will guide the broadcast media are the MBC Act, CAF N11, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, the Nigerian Broadcasting Code, the Electoral Act 2022, and other extant laws of the country. The Commission enjoins broadcasters to give equal access and opportunities to all political parties, registered political parties, and candidates. This is in addition to ensuring equity in airtime allocation and coverage of political parties' activities, particularly during prime times.
Lagos State CP Abiodun Alabi, who was represented by SP Benjamin, gave the goodwill message.
It is my pleasure to be in your midst as we, the critical stakeholders, interact and synergize towards the peaceful and successful conduct of the forthcoming 2023 general elections in Nigeria. Elections undoubtedly remain one of the critical elements of any democracy, as it provides the people the needed opportunities to periodically express their own options through their votes on whom should govern and lead them. This, of course, underscores the series of political activities and most times the consequent heightened tension between the political parties in the country, which usually characterize the build-up to the election days as parties struggle for power at different political offices at both subnational and national levels. We, as stakeholders, cannot pretend to ignore the fact that pockets of violence have over time come to characterize political campaigns other political activities and elections in the contemporary Nigeria. The Lagos State Police Command, on its part, is ever poised at ensuring adequacy of domestic peace, law, and order in Lagos, critical for a safe and secure environment for the successful conduct of the forthcoming general elections in the state.
Effective programming in an election period. The Broadcasters Challenge was the first paper presentation delivered by R.A. Yusuf, ace broadcaster.
Programming is the totality of our output. Some will say from conception to delivery. Everything in between forms part of our programming. This includes the idea which we develop into the content we transmit. Our quality control mechanism, including monitoring and evaluation, and above all, our scheduling philosophy. So when we say programming, it's everything that goes into what we put on air. Content is an element of programming. Without content, we cannot do anything. So the important thing for us is content. For our programming to be effective, certain imperatives must be satisfied. Credibility, authenticity, integrity, creativity, fairness, and if we say we are working to satisfy our audience, our programming must also be audience-centric. Now, political periods. We are talking about a period when the environment and atmosphere are heated up. Some will say agog, heady. That is the situation we find ourselves today. It is a period where order has been turned on its head and where politicians consider themselves our new masters. As broadcasters, it's a period we must keep our heads as professionals and remain unfazed by the exertions of politicians. Politicians will do everything, and I mean everything, to draw us to their side. But we must open our eyes and minds very wide. Otherwise, they will run us into trouble. We must be palpably seen to be neutral. Neutrality should be seen in the content we produce and transmit. Our content, the fulcrum of our programming, should have the following elements. They must be well planned, planning. They must be well researched. They must have balance. They must be fair. They must give people equality of space and time.
Dr. Peter Afunanya, who represented the Director General of DSS, delivered the second paper presentation, which was centered on broadcast narratives in electioneering and national security.
The Constitution in Section 22 recognizes the role of the media as an instrument to ensure transparency, accountability, educate the people or citizens or the populace about activities and programs of government. In other words, the issues surrounding transparency in governance and accountability is key. So in doing this, the media has to operate in a free environment. The media must promote education and awareness of the people in understanding the programs of government. But in also doing that, in civic education, the media ought to educate the populace about the issues they must do to ensure that national security objectives, national interests are realized and to be good citizens. This is why the broadcast station is very important. Today, the broadcast has left the traditional spectrum of radio and television to using the social media, the internet. There are a few problems that we encounter in the use of news broadcasts through the internet. And those, because of issues of anonymity of source, because of the fastness of the use of internet, and definitely because of the rise in community journalism, where every person has become a journalist. And with the cheapest phone, you can acquire and transmit information of all manners. In our place, in the DSS, what we are saying is shun the temptation of using your phone to deliver information that is fake and do not deliver things that are unconfirmed. As gatekeepers, the storytelling rests with journalists and the media personalities. You are very influential persons as gatekeepers. People depend on you for opinion molding, for direction, and this is why you must not misapply your platforms. The language that you must deploy to achieve your aim must be one that is cohesive, must be one that is not combative or violent in nature or even pit people against another. The angle, the perspective you want people to understand your storyline is also very important. You do not use your platform to promote certain ideologies that are inimical to national security. Or you do not bring people whose ideologies are not in sync with national unity, national cohesion. Or, as a journalist, a broadcaster, you must also understand your environment of operation such that you do not put yourself on harm's way. If on election day, for instance, you are reeling out results that are fake, whereas you know that the results you are taking out are not confirmed by the electoral body, what are you? You are calling for anarchy. You are calling for violence.
The interactive session saw comments and questions which were duly answered by the resource persons.
How do you handle such situation when your principals say don't allow party A or party B in your station?
As journalists, while doing our job, where do we strike that balance in trying to say this is the fact? You need to put it out there so that the system can change. And somebody telling you that in the public interest or in national interest, don't put it out there. And when you cover it, you create more problem for the country. Thank you.
In ensuring balancing on our platform, for instance, we have about 18 political parties that have presidential candidates. Must we bring the 18 political party representatives, or if we have about 2, 3, 4 of them, or what can we do to play safe?
At what point do you expect an anchor of a program when your caller raise a genuine issues, and these are issues that can cause further security breach?
A journalist is not a non-Nigerian in the instance of operating within the jurisdictions of Nigeria. He's first and foremost a citizen. So do you isolate certain groups and guarantee their safety? Security agencies at all times strive to guarantee the safety of all citizens. And if journalists are citizens, their safety to the extent of guaranteeing safety of citizens. As a journalist, be a good citizen. Do not engage in activities that are inimical to your safety or collective safety of other citizens. And once you are able to do this, you have already safeguarded yourself by 99%.
If media houses can just stick by the rules, do what is expected of them, and if the security agencies too do what is expected of them, every other stakeholder plays by the rule book, then I'm sure that everything will be fine.
If you are the piper and your owner is dictating the tune, you must listen to his tune. But you are the professional. Your owner is not the professional. And if you listen to him at the expense of your professional training, you are digging a grave for yourself in which you will fall, and if you are not careful, buried alive. So what should you do? In the majority of cases, station owners are not professionals. As a matter of fact, all that they do, they will set up the station, buy equipment, build big buildings and all that, and put you in charge.
This is a very important get-together. We've been told, times without number, that the media is a gatekeeper, and it is very important. The media reportage is the very important reason a lot of Nigerians are outside our shores today. They are out because of what they are hearing, because of what we're reporting. So this is a very important event, and I will enjoin us to take it as such. If you're an anchor of a particular show, and somebody is calling you to give you situation reports, there is no way, sitting on that seat, you'll be able to analyze the correct situation of the information that is being passed to you. But I'm sure that program has a producer who can immediately contact the law enforcement agent to wade into that kind of situation, assess the situation, and take control.
This forum is coming at the right time, and it's very, very germane. And I also want to urge Nigerian broadcasters to explore ways to navigate and professionally play their roles in providing a level playing field for the political gladiators. And in trying to achieve this, broadcast journalists, aside from confronting the daunting task of political coverage and reportage, have had to contend with certain challenges that are thrown up by the prevailing socio-political and socio-economic circumstances in the societies where they operate. The ethics of journalism profession, with particular attention to the broadcast media industry, and now it has feared in the Nigerian mediascape, must also be complied with. The Nigerian broadcasters' professional actions or inactions, as the case may be, are critical to the political progress of Nigeria as a democracy and as a nation. And in line with the guidelines of the NBC, political broadcasts shall be in decent language. We understand that. A station shall adhere to the rules provided in the Electoral Act. The doctor has said something about adhering to the Electoral Act. We have to master the Electoral Act. And the station should also provide equal opportunities for the political actors being invited to the various stations. I also want to say that the media should know more about the candidates, have knowledge of economics, use available resources to share facts, provide a platform for debate on all sides, and reflect the news about the weak candidates too.
The Director Monitoring of NBC, Mrs. Francisca Ayeton, said the vote of thanks.
We thank you for your support and for finding time to be here. To our resource persons, very resourceful paper presenters, thank you for your well-researched presentations.
It's excellent. This is the center of excellence, and this is the city of the media. And there's no doubt that Lagosians and the media personalities in Lagos will grab this occasion. So it's a very welcome development.
Journalists should not use skewed narratives to run down Nigeria. Journalists should not deliberately bring or associate themselves with persons, institutions, corporate or private, internal or external, willingly, bring people who willingly would want to destroy Nigeria. That is not the aim of journalism.
We're not doing anything differently. We're only going to improve on what we've done before. So we've had enough time to study previous outings, and we've identified areas that need to be improved upon. So this time around is going to be more of a better performance and improvement on what existed before. All we do is provide security for the electorate.
The social media is not killing the mainstream media. Rather, it's complementing the mainstream media. What the mainstream media should do is to really build on what we are seeing in the social media, in the sense that they should be able to discard the negative aspect of the social media and face the positive aspect of the social media.